Hello, Epic! For today's artist focus, we are going to be focusing on the artist Alma Thomas, who was born in 1891 and died in 1978. She was an African-American painter and a former middle school art teacher from Georgia, where I'm from. After retiring from teaching, she enrolled in university art classes, and there she learned about the color field movement, which is a style of art that focused on large expanses of color with very few details. Alma was in her 70s when she developed a unique style of painting based on a mosaic pattern that used small, random brushstrokes in bright rainbow colors, so it's never too late. Her use of color was her way of expressing beauty and happiness in the world. When she painted, Alma Thomas liked to work in her kitchen or tiny living room, but when her health started to fail, it made it increasingly difficult for her to paint. She would place one end of the canvas frame in her lap and balance the rest against her leg or a piece of furniture, which allowed her to rotate the canvas and paint the hard-to-reach areas. At 81 years old, 81, Alma Thomas became the first African-American woman to have her own art exhibit at the Whitney Museum here in New York City, in Manhattan. So that's very impressive, and remember that sometimes our success comes early in life and sometimes later, and there is no timeline that we have to adhere to there. Today we are going to make pieces inspired by her piece, Wind, Sunshine, and Flowers, which is this piece right here. Our materials today are fairly simple. You just need some brightly colored paint of any kind, a paintbrush, and a piece of paper. And then, of course, remember to cover your work area because we're working with paint. If you are really not feeling like working with paint today, stick around for the second half of this video because I've come up with a modified version of this project that instead of paint uses construction paper, white paper, scissors, and glue for anyone who is just painted out after these past few weeks. Alrighty, so to begin our Alma Thomas inspired mosaic style paintings, we're going to begin with our warm color lines. And remember that our warm colors are our yellows, our oranges, our reds, our pinks, that whole area of the color wheel. And we're going to begin with the color yellow. We like to always move from light to dark when we're painting. So we're going to start by creating a grouping of 3 separate parallel lines consisting of dashes with the color yellow. And you don't have to know exactly what that means yet because I'm about to show you. So I'm going to get some yellow paint, and I'm going to start over here on the left side of my paper, but not all the way. And I'm going to create, like I said, 3 separate parallel lines, so lines running in the same direction. Made up of dashes. So I'm actually going to angle this a bit because of the way I'm positioning myself around the tripod, but here we go. So I'm making some dashes, and I'm trying my best to keep my lines nice and straight, getting more paint as I need it. And the reason that we're doing light to dark is because when we clean off the paintbrush and dip it in the new color, it won't really mess things up as much as if we did it the other way. Well, that's one of the reasons anyway. All right, so I've made 1 line, and remember I'm going to make 3 parallel lines consisting of dashes. The dashes don't have to be perfectly in line with each other, as you see. I'm focusing on keeping my lines straight. All right, now I'm going to move over to the right side, and I'm going to make another grouping. just like this, okay? And again, I'm gonna make sure to keep my lines straight as I'm doing that. Okay, great. Now I'm going to clean my paintbrush by wiping it either on my painting placemat or on a paper towel. And then I'm going to get my next warm color. I'm going to repeat that process, and I'm going to go next to orange and do the dashed lines on one side of each of the yellow groupings, and then, you know, pink and then red next to those. Okay, now that I have my warm colors on the page, I'm going to start with my cool colors, and I'm going to do the same thing, moving out this way, starting with my greens and then moving into my blues and then my purples to create this rainbow effect across the page. Okay, and there we go. Now I've got this beautiful rainbow effect in the mosaic style of Alma Thomas going across the full page. So it takes a while to be super precise with these lines, but the directions, of course, are fairly simple and you can understand what to do here. Now that this is done, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to mount it on some black construction paper because it's got so many vibrant colors. It will make a nice contrast mounted on black, and I'll show you a picture of that at the end of this video. I also want you to hang on for a modified version of this project for anyone who has smaller hands and is still really working to refine those fine motor skills, who may find it very difficult to paint these straight lines, or for anyone who's just sick of paint. I have a different version of this project that we can do using construction paper. So just if you want to go ahead and do this paint version, you can stop here after you see the picture of what this looks like mounted on the black construction paper. But if you want the modified version, stay tuned to see how to make a modified version of this project that I'm calling Rainbow Fields, inspired by Alma Thomas. To the modified version of our Alma Thomas inspired mosaics, rainbow mosaics. So what I have is some a rainbow array of construction paper here. I've got a purple, blue, green, yellow, red, orange. You may have construction paper, or you may have painted paper or scrapbook paper, but whatever you have, just find some different colors. You do not have to have the full spectrum of the rainbow. And then I'm taking it and I'm just going to cut it into strips to start out. They don't have to be perfectly straight, and the size, like the width of the strips, doesn't matter. It's your choice, your call. This is your art, okay? So I'm just holding them all together. If this is too thick, you can of course make a smaller stack for this. But just holding them and cutting up like this. Great, see, they're not perfectly the same size, and that's okay. And then I'm just gonna cut them apart. Into even smaller little dashes. I have like a nice little pile of dashes over here, and I might do that one more time just to have enough dashes for this project. Okay, great. Now I'm going to take a white piece of paper. You can orient it either landscape or portrait. I'm going to put it portrait because it'll make it easier to fit on camera right now. And get either some glue or a glue stick. Now, if you're using bottled glue, you only need one tiny dot on each dash. You do not need to be covering the whole paper in piles of glue like I have seen happen many times in the classroom. All right, and now you can start arranging your mosaic by putting rows of the same colored strips. So look, I've got the tiniest amount of glue on here. And I'm going to start, and since this is orange, I'm just going to put a whole row of orange. All right, now that my orange is down, I'm going to go for a yellow, and I'm essentially going to keep creating a pattern down the whole page with colors. The order doesn't matter. You can go in rainbow order if you'd like, but you might not have a full rainbow of colors, so you can go in any order. Just try to keep the order consistent as you go, and just work to slowly and steadily glue down each of your little dashes of paper here with just a tiny bit of glue on each part. Until the whole page is covered in rows of your dashes of paper, like mine will be after this time lapse. Okay, so here we go. Here's my modified version, or the other version of my Alma Thomas inspired mosaic. And just like with the painted version, I'm going to mount this on black construction paper as well. You can do that if you have access to it. You definitely do not have to, just to make it look a little more professional and finished. But I hope that you, everyone, enjoyed this project, whether you did the painted version or the paper version, and that you learned a lot about the lovely artist Alma Thomas in the process. This is our last art of the semester, so I will see you all again after winter recess. Happy holidays!